I've tried to stay true to a systematic thought process. It's really easy to follow trends and programs, but if you don't have a systematic approach to your own life or your professional life, you're going to get lost a lot more. Meaning there's just things you could know that sometimes you get blind to when you get too much information and don't take enough action first. So remember I said information, action, reflection. Well, let's talk about the action that an FMS causes, because that is truly where that clarity comes in for most people when they understand the opportunities it provides, not the restrictions it causes. So as I told you, before, there's 2 ways to fail and 2 ways to pass. And the first thing I need you to know is just accept that and be able to negotiate that, because neither one is good or bad information. It is what it is. It's the data in front of us. It is statistically significant and the risk factors have been measured. So if somebody's flunking a movement screen with pain or a lot of unacceptable movement, the data's in. Don't work around that. That is the biggest problem. Now, here's where we break it down. There's 2 ways to fail. You can simply have unacceptable movement. You didn't make the cut. Heck, if you're hypertensive, you didn't make the cut of blood pressure. Nobody thinks you're a bad person. We've already got 10 things that we think will help, and 5 of them you need to do for yourself, not a pharmaceutical company. So movement's the same way, okay? So if you have pain on a movement screen, you're in an inappropriate place because there's a good chance more screening could hurt you in some cases, but there's a lot of DIY stuff we can do. So if you already know you're doing some wrong stuff and you want to work on it on yourself, just submit yourself to a movement screen in 2 weeks and you'll know whether you figured it out or not. So there's no problem with working on your own pain. But let's not bang your head against the wall for too long, because a lot of people at this level can't get out of their own way because they won't find the habit that's causing this, and sometimes a pro consult will. So do your own thing, but not for too long, because it's going to get worse if you don't get it right. So right here is what we do in clinic. I've got to treat your pain or you're not going to do your rehab with me. But if I don't also correct your function while you're here, you're going to be back here more than you want to be. And I owe you that, okay? So we follow a functional model in rehab, but a movement screen is too high a bar for somebody who's hurting. So we quickly say, oh, we're not training function here, we're treating pain and training function. That deserves some rehab or a boatload of better self-care and habit management. So do it yourself, get some help. Whereas here, correction of function is one of those things where the minute we started talking function in the professional workspace, we started talking about correctives. But the statement that is always looming in the back of my mind is people who like doing correctives and have had a lot of success doing correctives, when is the person corrected? Because if I'm going to college, I want to graduate at some point. If I've got a movement limitation, I want to get off these easy or weird exercises and get back to my thing. Well, when do I get off that track? When are you functional? It's hard to work it without a baseline. Now, we cross the line. Movement screen is good enough. It's functional. Functional conditioning. Here's what I'm saying. If you're only at an acceptable level of movement, there are probably things we could replace in your workout that might get you better. Get you off the leg press, try a kettlebell front squat off center. Way more functional, a lot of the same strengthening benefits, but a lot less places to make mistakes and a lot better place to own your own posture. So we could replace leg press with front squat. Now, people who come out of a movement screen exceptional, I wouldn't mess with their conditioning. Whatever they're doing is by default functional because of their test, not what it looks like, or because of the genetics and the lifestyle that they brought to this thing. So we still may want to do some exercises right here that keep you there. So replacing a single station isolation exercise with something functional probably won't hurt your conditioning, but could help you maybe get your function a little more in a good direction. What do I mean by that? Better mobility, stability, and balance. That's all, okay? Now, what does correction really mean? It's calibration. Well, what's calibration really mean? Well, if you have a phone or a computer or a car, that means getting everything working in a sufficient way to be sustainable, durable, and perform at an efficient and effective level. But when we get over into the human space, we talk about this mind-body experience, calibrating your mind and your body. And I don't think we have enough time to do that because we spend a lot of time outside our body and inside a screen instead of working out our facts and feelings to get them to align. So I consider a lot of the movement training we do to be calibration, and you know it works if there's a better response, meaning, hey, do this thing, balance just got better. Do this thing, oh, my toe touch just got better. Do this thing, oh my gosh, now I can turn equally to the left and right. That's a quick response, and calibration gives you that. So a quick adjustment, not a full-on tune-up or overhaul. Whereas conditioning, that's going to take some time. You're trying to morph your body, your tissues, your habits into something else. But if we're not getting you calibrated first, I would assume these people are calibrated, these are uncalibrated. If you throw conditioning at poor calibration, you're going to get a thing called compensation. And that's why we just said, everybody gets exercise. Even the people in pain got something they can do. But I wrote an article a long time ago in response to a lot of the pushback in the movement screen, because I think people thought if you flunked one movement pattern, you had to stop training until you had pristine tissue. That's not it at all. I've seen a lot of really good athletes that got a great hip hinge, but because of an athletic career, a lot of ankle damage, a lot of ankle impact, they got bad feet and tight ankles. I get it. So we're going to calibrate your squat while we condition your deadlift. And the name of the article that I did was Maintain Your Squat, Train Your Deadlift. If you want to continue getting stronger and getting a good hormonal load, fingertips to toes, strength training, you can do that without jamming up any of your joints or causing yourself to compensate. But meanwhile, we're going to do stuff to get your squat calibrated. It's not time to condition it yet, but you won't lose any level of conditioning. So the same person can be doing a corrective for one pattern, conditioning for the other. There is no quarantine if you only got one bad movement pattern or even two. I will tell you one other thing. Why is this category here? Not so you can shoot for it. You're either going to be there or you're not. But here's what we noticed in extreme environments. And I did this talk at the NFL Combine a few years back. We found that NFL players with a exceptional inline lunge on both the left and right actually have a competitive advantage as an NFL player. So up until that point, a movement screen just said, probably want to clean this up. This is good enough. We found that the inline lunge, the way we test it, seems to be predictor of a competitive advantage. Now, what does that really mean? An inline lunge says you got exceptional balance, exceptional mobility, and you can lower your center of gravity. And I can't see how that would hurt you as a field or court athlete. But that's what emerges. So we've got these three different categories of function, and then one that gets kicked out because you're in the wrong place. You don't get rid of your pain, train, and function. You get rid of your pain knowing where it's coming from and reclaiming function.